Hello, and welcome to episode 120 of Prose. This week, get cursed for life at a Starbucks, and experience humanity. Hooray for December, friends! I hope this final month of 2020 is treating you well thus far. I would like to encourage you all to go follow the show on social media under @ProsePodcast across all platforms. If you are enjoying the show, please do go click that 5-star review button wherever you're listening. It really does help out quite a bit. For easiest access to the show, subscribe using whatever podcast app is your favorite. And do go check out the Prose Patreon page at patreon.com/ProsePodcast and consider supporting the show there. I will send you heaps of gratitude and a little Prose swag if you do. Lastly, be sure to check out prosepodcast.com for all of this information and episodes and more. All right, thanks for listening. Let's get to the tale, shall we? This week, we have the cursed word and vignette while out and about. In regards to that latter one, it has quite a bit of language. You have been forewarned. Enjoy. The Cursed Word, an original short story by Jared I. McGee. "3 years ago, that damned witch cursed me. I know. The age of the iPhone bucks at the idea of witchcraft. But any balking is just empty, mindless bleeding. The world is easier without the supernatural. I ran afoul of Vignette Fairchild by bumping into her outside of a Starbucks. Literally. Bumping into her. I slammed into Miss Fairchild as she was exiting. Her venti hot pumpkin spice soy milk no whip non-fat latte sloshed against her and splashed out onto me, resulting in pained wails and expletives from both of us. In fairness to myself, it's not like it was intentional. Hell, the collision wasn't even my fault. Ms. Fairchild was texting as she exploded through the door. Still, I wasn't myself that day, and my reaction to the incident showed that. Rather than check to see if she was okay, as I normally would, I fretted and fumed and said something along the lines of inquiring if she could be any more stupid. Again, I wasn't myself. And so I paid. And so, I am still paying.
Young man, you should learn some manners.
So should you, lady. Look up from your phone from time to time, would you?
I admit to being partially at fault here, but there is no call for rudeness. The world needs more love in it. There's enough aggression and ugliness there, and...
Bullshit, lady. Could you even get any more stupid? Look, I'm sorry that your drink got wasted, but you really need to check that holier-than-thou attitude. Do not lecture me on love.
And you should actually learn to love.
Psst. Right. I love just fine. With that, her eyes took on a strange blue-green glow, like those ships with that plasma thing that happens in electric storms, and what looked to be lightning in miniature streaked in the whites of those orbits. She intoned, like a preacher at his most serious fire and brimstone sermon,
No ring upon your fingers, no. Let no one help your heart to grow. Your family may still hold you dear, but no true partner will your life yield. Never again shall these 3 words pass your lips, even if your beloved feels they fit. Pronoun, verb, pronoun, or even just the verb. Never shall you say the cursed phrase, the cursed words.
Miss Bennett Fairchild tromped off cackling like witches do in the movies. Not even the good ones. Her barking laughter was something out of a cheesy B film. She left me feeling like I had been doused by an ice bath. The heat was sucked right out of me. Even at the time, I knew something had changed in that moment. As laughable as the entire interaction was, particularly her little Janie on the spot poem, it shocked me even more than the hot latte to my face those mere moments earlier. I did have the presence of mind to grab her discarded cup that was left lolling on its side in the wake of her departure. That's how I have the witch's name. Without it, I would not be able to put a name to the face, a name to the curse. Honestly, I do not know why I thought to pick it up in that moment. That cup has become something of a holy relic of sorts to me. It's become one of my prized possessions. I've come to quite literally put it on a bit of a pedestal in my bedroom. But her curse, though just as present as that cup, is far from cherished. At first, I thought she was just some crazy woman that wanted to get her 2 cents into me through a non-standard way of doing so. Just some batshit banter from a batshit biddy. I couldn't have been more wrong. I'd never been great at relationships, but when I got past my initial closed-offishness and awkwardness and solitary leanings, I was a fierce friend, an adoring family member, and a sincere, passionate romantic partner. It took me about 3 months before one of my dating app resultant dates turned into a second and then a third. Jessica and I were hitting it off and falling for each other, and fast. That's how it usually went for me. Nothing for years. Then a bolt of lightning. Within 6 months, I was head over heels. I wanted to tell Jessica that I was head over heels. So, I took her on a moonlit picnic and walk in one of the larger parks downtown. After our picnic and slow dancing to no music at all, I leaned in to tell her that I was madly in love with her. And I choked. No, I didn't chicken out. It felt like I had swallowed too large a bite and then had it lodge in my throat. I literally choked. After some coughing and sputtering and a sip of water, we giggled. Being the intelligent, intuitive woman she was, Jessica inquired after what I was going to say. I leaned back in and choked. This time, though, it was as though my airway were really, truly obstructed. I couldn't breathe. For a solid minute, I thought Jessica might need to do the Heimlich maneuver on me. Another 30 seconds rounding out on a second minute, I was finally able to start gasping in air. At this point, the moment was ruined. So we both made excuses, packed up our picnic, and left the park, eventually splitting to go our different directions without a kiss. That was a first. We hadn't parted with such icy terms, without any affection, since our second date. What took the majority of a year to build only took that night and one or two more like it to break. The real point of no return was when Jessica told me that she loved me, and I could not respond. That was too much for her. Through a lot of tears, she'd spoken of dreams of weddings, children, time together with my family and hers. Then, it ended. Miss Bennett Fairchild's curse had made its first major impact. After losing Jessica to the curse, I began to realize that I'd not been saying I love you to my dog or my family or my close friends in some time. I would offer up approximations to the phrase that held something lesser but close to the sentiment. But I love yous hadn't crossed my lips since Miss Fairchild's rebuke of me. That has now been, sheesh, what is it? That's been 3 years now. My family knows I love them, as they're my family and they've known me long enough. My dog knows I love him, that love being shown through snuggles and walks and treats and play. My do-or-die friends know I love them because I show it in my own unique ways, just as I've always done. But new friends? Those are few and far between. In truth, I really haven't made any. And women? Romantic relationships? Well, I've had fleeting dalliances with women these past 3 years. But with the ones that really matter, things go south the closer we get to the I love yous. I still have that damned cup with the hastily inscribed Bennett in black Sharpie. It reminds me of my mistake that day. If Miss Bennett Fairchild had wanted to teach me humility and how rudeness affects others, she has beaten that lesson into me well by now. If she had sought to make me more mindful of my actions and how I treat others, I could have asked for no better teacher. But in the fairy tales and folk tellings and Disney films, the curse is lifted when the offender has learned their lesson. I have learned my lessons 1,000 times over at this point, and yet my curse remains. The desire to love hasn't left me. If anything, it has increased 1,000,000-fold. The capacity to love hasn't left me. It, too, has grown exponentially. But I just can't say it. My actions may scream it is so. My eyes carry it with all the electricity I feel. But without the ability to speak it into existence, I am doomed not to move forward in any meaningful way in any relationships. From time to time, I go bum around that same Starbucks, hoping to run into Miss Bennett Fairchild, that modern-day witch who has so humbled me. I go even more frequently around the holidays. Those are the hardest for not being able to say I love you out loud. 3 years, and I haven't seen her around. pronoun, verb, pronoun. Or even just the verb. What I wouldn't give to say that blessed phrase. Those purest words. Thank you for listening to The Cursed Word, an original short story by me, Jared I. McGee. Next up, we have a rather difficult tale about people being mean to people, just in everyday life. Just as a fair warning, there is quite a bit of language in that one, so just be wary. All right. Thanks for listening to this first tale. Let's get to this next one. A Vignette While Out and About. An original short story by Jared I. McGee.
Fuck you, you fucking packy piece of shit. You won't even give me my numbers. They're my numbers. Fuck you, letting that man take my numbers. What do you mean, sold out?
Ma'am, I'm sorry, but the lottery plays for those numbers are sold out for Sunday and Monday, but you can have them for the rest of the week. Would you like to...
Fuck Sunday and Monday being sold out. They're my numbers. Do you understand, you terrorist motherfucker?
Ma'am, you are welcome to leave, but I do need to serve the other guests.
I am not going anywhere. This is my neighborhood. Give me my numbers through the rest of the week then, but I'm reporting you to the NYPD. You're a thief. You're cheating people in this piece of shit bodega. I'm telling you, you're in for big trouble. People don't mess with my numbers.
The woman got her scratch tickets and stumbled to the corner, violently knocking the powdered coffee made off the counter meant to be a coffee station for customers. She dug down on her tickets, scratching off all the iridescent silver covering her numbers. Seemingly, she had lost, as she saw herself out with
Fuck this place!
at the top of her lungs and an attempted slam of the door. The door had an arm that prevented slamming, though, so her slam simply caused her to stumble. The door continued its deliberate pace, shutting in its own good time. Next. Yeah, man, where the fuck are my sandwiches? Oh, they're here. I had them laid aside for you, sir. They're cold. You're giving me a discount. Sir, you've been standing here with them sitting on the counter. I showed them to you. They've only been out 4 or 5 minutes, though, so... And I say, fuck you, trash man. Give me my goddamn discount or you'll be sorry. No, sir. You're welcome to leave without the sandwiches. Man, fuck you, cuz. Then give me my $2.50 scratches. How much is that cough syrup? No, not the cough drops, you dumb motherfucker. Learn to speak some goddamn English. The cough syrup, the NyQuil there on the counter. Sir, that's $9. $9? That's fucking robbery, you asshole. I can get that for like $6 down Target. I'm sorry, sir, but that is the price for our store. We are not a pharmacy. Fine. Toss that overpriced shit in my bag too. And if you charge me for my bag, we're gonna have a problem. The man took the black plastic bag, scanning the contents once more, seemingly to ensure that the clerk had not taken an item out in the eye blink moment between bagging the items and handing over the bag to the man. The customer stalked out, continuing to curse under his breath, generally spouting racially offensive epithets, or noting how he could physically harm the man, and that the man had better be careful the next time he came into the corner store. Several youths in their early teens were loitering about, half in line and half not. The man asked them if they were ready to check out. They rolled their eyes at him, only half hearing, and continued in that half life as they rifled through the snack aisle and soda refrigerator for what they thought they could get home. The clerk at the register was clearly uncomfortable with the teenagers bumbling around his store, but his brother had just come up from the stocking room toward the back of the establishment, and with a barely perceptible glance and a nod, the brother let the clerk at the register know that the kids were now under his watchful eyes. "Sir, are you ready?" he asked me. There was a tightness in his voice that belied just how stressful these last interactions had been for him. That tightness was carried through to his eyes, which were clearly apprehensive. Here was this man who had a story. Well, we all have stories, don't we? But a man whose story clearly had brought him from elsewhere, from overseas. This man had come from some far-flung place to fight for and chase and earn the American dream. I absently wondered why we never fully included just how messy and degrading attaining that dream is for most people. God knew my forebears had been all but graduated chattel in their day. Of course, so many others had had so much worse. The man, though, was ready for another fit with yet another narcissistic piece of human waste ready to assault him, verbally or physically, based off of extraordinarily mundane, meaningless quasi-needs. I was there to buy some Oreos and milk. I'd had a bad day, and this was my indulgence. Though I love alcohol and what few drugs I've ever allowed myself to experience, sweets were my vice. I placed my goodies on the counter. "Yes, sir, thank you." Is this it?" "Yes, sir. That's it for me today. Thank you so much." $7.89. Need a bag?" "No, sir. I'm just going right around the corner. No need to waste your bag. Thanks a million for offering, though." As we both waited awkwardly for my credit card to clear, the clerk visibly relaxed. Our transaction was almost over, and I had not berated him. His body told the story of a man so accustomed to conflict that even this brief respite, this one calm transaction, was a godsend. A snapshot of serenity and humanity amid the torrent of filth and anger coming at him day in and day out. The credit card machine beeped. He looked up at me. "Do you need a receipt, sir?" "No, sir. That's just fine." He handed me the bag, and his lips quirked just a little on the corners. He was stifling what might have been a full smile. His eyes twinkled as he said, "Please come again." I replied, "Sure thing. Thank you again and have a great rest of your day, sir." The door dinged as yet another customer came swaggering in. I stepped to the side to let them wander by, and then began to make my way out to the sidewalk. As I left from the store, I heard, "Hey, dipshit,
I heard y'all are almost out of scratchies. That's some dumb shit, alright? So I need my numbers.
The clerk met my eyes while my neck was still craned while I was continuing to exit. He longed for humanity. Thank you for listening to A Vignette While Out and About, an original short story by me, Jared I. McGee. All sounds and music that you have heard throughout this episode come from YouTube's free audio music library and freesound.org. All of those tracks are being used under CC 01.0 public domain dedication licenses. That does it this week for Prose. As always, I hope you enjoyed the tales. Please keep your ear and eye to the feed, as we will have a great many extra episodes this December, as is the tradition. As you continue about your day, I do hope that you'll love those around you, tell them that you do, and embrace this life as it is always stranger than fiction. Thank you so much for listening.